So a lot of us metalheads, we have guilty pleasures. We don't always listen to heavy metal or punk rock, and sometimes there are some artists we do not like to admit. Let's keep the introduction short and sweet. I'm going to start off with Michael Jackson, Thriller, and Bad. And yeah, I mentioned the album Dangerous in my 1991 video. And yeah, we all know Eddie Van Halen plays a guitar solo on Beat It. But beside the point, the whole album is pretty fucking metal, if you think about it. Plenty of the songs have dark overtones to them, with lots of serious minor notes and serious topics, such as stalkers, gang violence, and horror. And the Bad album is also like a similar continuation of Thriller in a way, bringing toughness to pop music. And despite the fact that these albums have a lot of guitar in it, the production and the mix of the album are pretty big and in your face. And it's safe to say the king of pop is pretty fucking metal, even to this day and onward. The second artist I'm going to talk about is the Jacksons. I know we just talked about Michael, but the album Victory. And I'm not going to get into the tensions the brothers were having during the making of the album, which some of that could be a result of the energy we got. I think this album is overlooked and equally as good as the Michael Jackson material. And like I said about the Thriller and Bad album, this album also has the dark overtones of the minor notes as well. My go-to tracks on the album would be Wait and Torture. There's even a little bit of reggae and synth influence on the record. Mick Jagger even makes an appearance on one of the tracks, titled State of Shock, which originally that track was supposed to have Freddie Mercury sing. Third artist, Weezer, particularly the self-titled debut from 1994. Some alternative bands during this time frame were metalheads, they just couldn't express it the right way, due to record deal obligations. Vocally, the band has a lot of pop rock hooks to them, but the guitar tones are rather heavy, with the use of a heavy 70s fuzz distortion with a raw garage production. I was young when the album came out. My favorite track was Buddy Holly, but I think the song Say It Ain't So is the one that really grew on me, with the rock hooks and the bends and all that. And I'm going to say the same thing about the band Toadies, with the album Rubberneck, and the song, for example, I'm talking about is Possum Kingdom. Yes, the radio single. At the time, I thought it was daisical alternative rock, but as it grew on me in time, it did have a similarity to 80s hard rock bands with the whammy bar work they were doing. And like I said, alternative rock bands in the mid-90s were actually kind of heavy. And despite the trends that were going on, these artists were actually using creative guitar work. Another band I might get shit for, the Goo Goo Dolls. Yes, the multi-platinum fucking band. But I'm actually talking the early days, the Metal Blade Records era, appearing on the soundtrack to the film Freddy's Dead, and albums such as Hold Me Up, Jed, Superstar Car Wash, and A Boy Named Goo. Despite being an alternative band on a heavy metal label, most of the albums being radio rock oriented, with some punk influence from their very early days. And here's another one, Sugar Ray, with the album Lemonade and Brownies. You gotta admit the songs 10 Seconds Down and Mean Machine are actually pretty fucking good. And if you're a fan of the band Helmet, you might actually dig it. You know, and a couple songs from the album Florida's probably good, but I think after that, and maybe after that I'm kinda done, you know? I think I'm gonna take it to the hood now, with some Death Row Records shit. The 2 CD compilation, The Best of Death Row, has some pretty good fucking gangster rap on it. Growing up in SoCal, hip-hop and rap music was kinda hit or miss to me, but I'm gonna give props to Snoop Dogg with Doggy Style, Dr. Dre, The Chronic, and pretty much the early Tupac albums. The content and the lyrics are pretty fucking badass, but the arrangements and instrumentals throughout the song are pretty dark and sinister. Lots of minor notes and scary samples throughout the songs. To me, that's what set the tone and caught my ear. You can't go wrong with The Lady of Rage. You gotta rock rough and stuff with your Afro puff. How about goddamn Cypress Hill with Black Sunday? I mean, these guys are actually fucking metalheads who rap, and some of these guys have some heavy rock side projects as well, such as SX10 with Sendog. Or how about the debut solo album by John Bon Jovi, Blaze of Glory, which is kind of the soundtrack to the movie Young Guns 2. No, there's no hair rock elements at all whatsoever in this album. It has a very bluesy Southwest overtone, and Little Richard, Elton John, and Jeff Beck made guest appearances on the album as well. And I'm not being biased because this is one of the first 2 CDs that I owned. The songwriting, performance, and production of this album are very stellar. Practically the first 6 or 8 ZZ Top albums. That little band from Texas had some fucking balls. They pretty much showed the world what was up. The rest is history. I'm gonna try to wrap this up, but how about bands like Depeche Mode, Duran Duran, Tears for Fears, practically any and all new wave music from the 80s. The Smiths, come on. How about Robin Trower, Bridge of Sighs, the title track, the song Day of the Eagle, a little bit of Sympathy. And yeah, I'm a sucker for Journey, pretty much every album they had, before and after Steve Perry even. Yes, all the obscure albums. I mean, you can't go wrong with Neil Sean's guitar playing. It is pretty fucking metal, but they're not exactly a metal band. Yeah, this episode I'm just throwing shit out, but if you got any suggestions, let me know. Maybe I'll make another video. Sometimes it's cool just to bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for checking out Mean Street Journal. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Also, get your ass on Spotify and follow Mean Street Journal there as well. And if you're into offensive t-shirts, apparel, and other shit, go to TeePublic and look up Mean Street Wear. Today's episode was brought to you by Mutual of Sicily. Not your average car insurance company, but they find the asshole who rear-ended your car and throw him down a flight of stairs. And the skincare company, Neutrogena. The other skincare company is for your face. Well, Neutrogena, that's for the other place. And there you have it. See ya.